This is my final Kundalini video. What I wanted to touch on briefly is my own personal experiences of Kundalini from beginning to end. Just an outline of my own experiences. So, I've always been an intuitive kind of individual. I could pick up on things, before they were going to happen, and had intuition and so on. I grew up in a very violent environment, a violent neighborhood, violent neighborhoods, a violent city. And so I had a much more of an awareness of survival kind of things and a sensitivity to energies to begin with. And what happened was, as I grew older into my teens, I got into martial arts. And that's when I really could feel people, sense people looking at me. I could sense energies, intentions, things like that. I read a great deal of spiritual text and began to do practices. I decided to pursue spirituality further, and for a month I did Kriya Yoga. So I have experienced that, so I have a sense of how that works, that process. I met my teacher about a month after doing Kriya Yoga, and then I stopped doing Kriya Yoga and I was with my teacher. I believe that he had a fully awakened Kundalini, or at least his energy was very strong nonetheless, his spiritual energy. Or his life energy, his psychic energy. What happened was I had a range of spiritual awakening, enlightenment kind of experiences, and then I went through a very long period of purification where I experienced kriyas, spontaneous physical movements of all different kinds, tensions, burning, aches, pains, you name it. I pretty much experienced it, of energy flowing through my body. Spontaneous movements, everything, the whole gamut. I've probably experienced it. I experienced all the rage from my childhood coming up and having to express it, having to release it, because I had repressed it, I'd suppressed it. And the challenge of doing that in a non-violent fashion, it's very difficult. I had all kinds of memories that would come up to my awareness, memories that I completely forgot about, and they would just come up very clear, very vivid, but there was an objectivity about them. It was almost like everything that you've experienced ever, that you haven't processed, that you haven't dealt with, that you haven't resolved, that you may have repressed, suppressed, whatever, it comes forth in the Kundalini process. And if you are going through the true process and you stick it out all the way through, depending on your past, you may go through any number of things. My process was very difficult, but that's only because my childhood was very difficult. If you had an easy childhood, you may have an easy Kundalini. These energies may be transformed, and it's no problem. So I've experienced these experiences of electricity flowing throughout my whole body, shooting through it. And I do have the belief that there's the underlying kind of forces shaping our human life, our magnetism, sound, and light. And electricity plays in there too. I still don't know the relationship between electricity and light, but definitely, maybe they're the same, one and the same. I'm still not sure about that, but definitely you could say magnetism, sound, and electricity. And those forces operating within us. They govern the plasmas, the gases, the liquids, and solids that we are composed of as human beings, that our psyche, that we are, psychologically composed of, that our psychic energies are composed of. And our psychic energies are the ones that sustain our physical body, as well as the ones that are operating in our mental and emotional life. So this is kind of my basic sense or theory of how these things, a general sense of how they work, that there's magnetic forces, magnetic currents, was theorized and maybe even proven by Davis and Rawls, and maybe I'll attach a link to their experiment where they show this figure 8 pattern is the true kind of pattern of the magnetic currents, and that there's a positive and negative magnetic current, and then maybe even a current of electricity or what have you that connects the two, or that flows between the two and kind of balances them, or how it works exactly. I still have my own questions, but I've experienced the whole range of things. I've also experienced, some psychic experiences, but phenomena was never important to me. What was important to me was what I felt most vividly was the energies not being able to flow through my system freely, so I could rest in an enlightened kind of awareness. So that's just a gist of my Kundalini experiences. I don't really have much to add to it. I don't know if it's helpful or not, but I hope that the other posts kind of give a big picture of it that might be helpful. So thank you.